Linda, Sophie was on our doorstep again. Are we watching her? She's been sitting here for 30 minutes with her backpack. Why do you always have to make it complicated? Just let her in. She looks exhausted. Has she eaten today? Sarah, you already know the drill. You've been watching my kid for years now. Do you really need to ask? This is the third time this month. We need some structure here. Sophie knows what to do. She's been doing this since she was little. That's exactly the problem. She shouldn't be used to this. I think we need some kind of heads up. Sophie had to explain everything. She's in 6th grade now. I told her to let you know. Did you at least pack her school supplies? Her math teacher called yesterday about missing homework. Stop micromanaging. She's old enough to handle her own stuff. Yes, Sophie told me. But you're her mother, Linda. You can't just drop your kid off without saying anything. Are you going to lecture me every time? She's fine. She's not fine. She was crying when she got here. She always gets dramatic when I start dating someone new. She'll get over it. Why are you being so difficult? I'm just asking family to watch her for a bit. Define a bit this time. Last time it was 3 months. When did you become such a nag? You used to be more understanding. A bit? Is several months just a bit to you? Yeah, a few months fly by when you're having fun. Fun for who? While you're dating, Sophie's missing her mother. She has you, doesn't she? Isn't that what you always wanted? That's not fair, and you know it. Linda, this needs to stop. It's not good for Sophie. What needs to stop? Leaving Sophie with us every time you get a new boyfriend. It's not every time, just when things get serious. When was the last time you spent a full week with her? I don't keep track. Why are you? Because one of us has to think about Sophie's well-being. What else am I supposed to do? I need to have guys over. And what if they're creeps who are too interested in kids? That would be worse for Sophie, right? There are better ways to handle this. Have you considered dating during school hours? That's not enough time to really get to know someone. Then maybe don't bring them home? How else am I supposed to know if we're compatible? Compatible for what? Living together while Sophie lives with us? I'm trying to build a future here. Don't you want Sophie to have a father? She needs her mother first. Sarah, you just don't get it. I need to date like a normal person to figure out who these guys really are. I already get dumped enough being a single mom. I want to wait until there's trust before telling them about Sophie. And how many times has that strategy worked? That's not the point. At least I'm trying. Trying what exactly? To hide Sophie's existence? You make it sound so horrible. I'm protecting her. I think you should be upfront about having a child from the start. Yeah, because you're such an expert on dating as a single mother. I know plenty of single parents who manage just fine. I'd never find anyone that way. God, you're so naive. My friend Karen is a single mom. She just got engaged. Let me guess, she told him about her kid right away? Yes, actually, he loved that she was honest. Well, good for Karen. Some of us live in the real world. Don't talk about what single moms should do when you don't know. I have friends who are single moms, and they always mention their kids first. Must be nice to have such perfect friends. They're not perfect. They just prioritize their children. Those friends must be idiots. I disagree. Besides, you don't get to judge. You've been watching Sophie for years. I can only leave her with you and my brother. I don't trust anyone else. My mom lives too far and can barely walk. What am I supposed to do? Send Sophie there? There are other options. After-school programs, daycare. With what money? I can barely afford my dating outfits. Maybe that's part of the problem. Oh, here we go again with a budget lecture. I'm just saying your priorities seem... Or do you not want to watch her anymore? Want her sleeping on the streets? You're the one kicking her out every time you get a new boyfriend. That's entirely false, and you know it. Well, it sure feels that way with all your complaints. Don't twist this. I'm protecting Sophie. I'm dating to find someone who can give her a better life. By hiding her existence? Sounds familiar. That's different, and you know it. How is it different? Because you say so? Because I'm not her mother who abandons her every other month. You've got this backwards. Wouldn't it be better if you focused on Sophie and showed her what it looks like to work hard? I am working hard. Her deadbeat dad disappeared after getting me pregnant. I'm the one who didn't abandon her. That's the starting point here. Why am I getting attacked? Not abandoning her isn't the same as being there for her. You have no idea what I've sacrificed. Like what? Your dating life? Like my entire youth. I had her at 19. That was your choice. Sophie didn't ask to be born. Of course you'd say that. You get to play mom without any of the hard parts. I respect that you had Sophie and raised her this far, but being a parent doesn't end at giving birth. Wow, Sarah can make jokes now. That was a joke, right? I'm serious. Sophie needs stability. She has stability. She has you, doesn't she? That's not how this works. We're backup, not replacement parents. Since you don't have kids, you have zero right to lecture me about this. I've been more present in her life than you have lately. Only because I let you. I might not have given birth, but I understand how kids feel. Plus, I've helped raise Sophie. Add up all the time you've left her with us, it's been years. You're keeping count? How petty. Someone needs to keep track of her life. Are you saying I don't? When was her last doctor's appointment? Whatever, but you still don't get what it's like to be a birth mother. Stop acting like you're her mom. Someone has to act like her mom. What's that supposed to mean? That's what you're for, right? Since you love playing mommy so much. It means Sophie needs someone she can count on. She can count on me. I'm just busy right now. You've been busy for most of her life. At least I gave her life. What have you done except criticize? I see. Well, we'll take care of Sophie this time too. Just please tell her about your relationship status early. Stop acting so superior. You're just babysitting. Is that what you call raising your child? Fine. I won't expect anything from you anymore. Good. That works better for me. Don't get any strange ideas again. Like what? That Sophie deserves better? Like thinking you can replace me. She's my family. My daughter. No one's trying to replace you. We're just picking up your slack. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Hey Sarah, listen to this amazing news. What is it? You'll never believe what happened. Another boyfriend? This one's different. He's perfect. That's what you said about the last three. I don't need to leave Sophie with you anymore. Oh really? You don't sound excited. I feel like I've heard this before. But this time it's real. Yeah, my new guy is great with kids. He even volunteers at a food bank for underprivileged children. When I told him about Sophie, he asked so many questions about her. He said he's totally fine with me being a single mom. When did you tell him about Sophie? Just today, during our walk. After how many dates? Doesn't matter. He's happy about it. So you've told him about constantly leaving Sophie with us? Don't make it sound so bad. How did you explain it then? Yeah, we happened to pass by your house during our date. He said it was so sad, and I just knew he'd be great with kids. I was so moved. So I'll be taking Sophie back now. You're still as naive as ever. Wait, what exactly did you tell him? Just that Sophie stays with you sometimes. Sometimes? Well, when I need help. You mean when you're dating? Why do you always have to be so negative? He's different from the others. He actually wants to be there for Sophie. And you're okay with that? Of course. He loves kids. Just like that, after one conversation? You should see how excited he is. I'll be there in a bit to pick Sophie up. That's not possible. Your boyfriend took Sophie. What? My boyfriend took Sophie where? What? What do you mean? Stop joking around. This isn't funny. Your boyfriend came by today, probably right after your date. He came to your house? Why? He wanted to hear about Sophie. I was surprised, but he showed his ID and proof he was dating you. So I told him everything about our situation and you. Everything? What's everything? The truth, Linda. All of it. But why take her? And to where? Child Protective Services. CPS? What? What did you do? I didn't do anything. Mike did. This can't be happening. Have I done something wrong? You really need to ask that? They can't just take her. They can when there's neglect. Neglect? I feed her. I clothe her. And then leave her for months at a time. He said he was just following the law, and it gets complicated from what I hear. Also, why aren't you stopping him? Why are you letting someone else take Sophie? How am I supposed to stop him? Where did they take her? To a safe place, where she'll be evaluated. Evaluated for what? I'm her mother. Being a mother is more than biology, Linda. My husband is with us. I'll join them once I pack Sophie's things. We just finished discussing everything. Discussing what? Behind my back? What do you mean by finished discussing? This is about what Sophie wants. Yes, exactly. It is about what Sophie wants. She wants to be with her mother. Is that why she begged to stay with us? Your new boyfriend, Mike, is really impressive. He knew a lot about custody and welfare. He was very well informed. Stop praising him. He betrayed me. He's protecting Sophie. From what? From me? From your negligence. What? What's going on? What are you all doing behind my back? Making sure Sophie has a stable home. She has a home. With me. A home she's barely lived in for the past year. Sophie will temporarily stay at a facility, then we'll start the process of removing her from your custody. After that's done, she'll live with us until she's 18. You can't do this. We already have. How can you make those decisions without the mother? That's impossible. The same way you made decisions without considering Sophie. I always considered Sophie. When? Between boyfriends? You'll probably hear from them tomorrow. They'll want to know about your parenting history. What parenting history? What are they going to ask? Everything. Where Sophie's been living, school attendance, medical records. Sophie won't be allowed to live with me anymore? Not unless you make major changes. What changes? I'll do anything. No. Sophie said she doesn't want to live with you anymore. You never hit her or starved her, but you didn't do anything to help her either. No playtime, no conversations. You basically ignored her. When she tried talking to you, you'd ignore her. The worst thing you can do to a kid is show no interest. And when Sophie started her period, you never even bought her pads. She was still in elementary school. Just using toilet paper isn't okay. She never told me about any of this. She tried, every day. I would have noticed. Like you noticed she was using toilet paper instead of pads? She should have said something. She did, to me. I also found out you never let her go to school trips or overnight camps. You said they were too expensive, but Sophie told me you said she couldn't make memories. She said you told her not to talk about it. But that's understandable since you were struggling financially. Though it's weird you had money for new clothes and salon visits when you barely work. Adults and kids are different. My beauty routine is necessary. I needed to look good to find us a better life. While Sophie missed every field trip, those things aren't important. They were to her. Your priorities are all wrong. You also told Sophie never to bother us. That's just common sense. I have that much sense at least. You weren't teaching, you were threatening her. You told her if we started disliking her, she'd end up homeless and couldn't go to school. You made her swear never to tell us anything. I don't know anything about that. Sophie must be making it up. I was protecting her, making sure she wouldn't be a burden. She was never a burden. You made her feel like one. That's not what I meant. What did you mean then? You know exactly what I meant. I believe Sophie, because she finally cried. She begged us not to abandon her. She said she wanted to live with us. She said she never wanted to go back to your house. She would never say that. She's been saying it for years. You just weren't listening. She's just confused. You've turned her against me. You did that yourself. Of course you'd think that. Sophie's been hiding her real feelings for years. No matter how much we asked, she always said you were taking good care of her. What you did wasn't parenting. It was cursing a child. Stop acting high and mighty, you defective woman. Stop pretending to be her mother. Name-calling won't change the truth. What truth? That you stole my daughter? That you abandoned her? Stop trying to act like you're her real mother. Fine, I won't pretend anymore, because I'm committed to being her real mother now. We may not share blood, but I have more love for her than you ever did. I won't let you chain her down to your lifestyle anymore. This is so infuriating. But whatever. I was just keeping her around as a housekeeper anyway. Mike is perfect at housework and cooking. He probably took Sophie to that facility because he doesn't want kids either. He listened to everything I said. Do you even hear yourself? What? I'm just being honest now. How do you manage to twist everything to suit yourself? Mike suggested all this to help Sophie. What? But he said he was thinking about marriage. He was playing you the same way you play everyone else. He was just playing along. He said finding out you had a daughter freaked him out. He said there were no signs of a child living in your home. Of course not. You were hiding her. But he said a child always leaves some trace. Then when you casually mentioned leaving Sophie with us, he knew he couldn't continue the relationship. No way. Mike was different. He wasn't like those other losers. You're right. He actually cared about Sophie. He betrayed me. Like you betrayed Sophie all these years? That's why he came here. He wanted to know more about you too. He has connections in social services and wanted to help. Turns out he grew up with toxic parents. Now he volunteers to help kids in similar situations. No. Am I getting dumped again? I thought I could finally get married. Is that all you care about, even now? You brought this on yourself. No one, not me, not my husband, no one will forgive you. This isn't about forgiveness. This is about my rights. What about Sophie's rights? Please, let me talk to Sophie. She must just be acting rebellious. You know Sophie loves me. She was always happy to come home. Was she? Or was she just afraid to say otherwise? Of course she was. I'm her mother. Being afraid of disappointing you isn't the same as being happy. Yes, she always said she loved Mom and was excited to go home, always with a smile. But now we know you forced her to say those things. We won't make her tell those painful lies anymore. They weren't lies. She loves me. Love shouldn't come with conditions. What conditions? I never set any conditions. Oh, really? Don't bother them. Don't tell them anything. Don't make memories. Those sound like conditions to me. Please, Sarah, give Sophie back. I carried her for 9 months. I might have made her lonely sometimes, but I really did care about her. 9 months of pregnancy doesn't make up for 12 years of neglect. I can change. I'll do better. With what support system? What job? What plan? I'll figure something out. I always do. Like leaving her with us every time life gets difficult? That was different. I was trying to protect her. From what? Your boyfriends? Or from having to actually be a mother? You don't understand what it's like. No, I understand perfectly now. This is the result of how you treated Sophie. We're never giving her back to you. It's too late to act like a mother now. You can't do this. She's my daughter. She's a person, not your property. This isn't over. I'll fight this. Good. Show that energy in court. Show them your job, your home, your support system. I don't need your sarcasm. It's not sarcasm. It's reality. Sophie needs stability. I am stable. Your criminal record says otherwise. That was one time. One time too many. Sophie deserves better. After that, there were meetings with CPS and a lot of paperwork. About 6 months later, Sophie came back to live with us permanently. Linda tried to get Sophie back, but given all the issues with her past parenting and the fact she never even got a job to prepare for Sophie's return, her parental rights were temporarily suspended. They took Sophie's wishes into account and approved of her living with us, which was such a relief. After Mike broke up with her, Linda went off the deep end. She got drunk at a host club, caused a huge scene, and got arrested. It just proved what a mess she is and made it even harder for her to ever get Sophie back. Since coming to live with us, Sophie seems so much more expressive. She doesn't have to pretend to love Linda anymore. From now on, we're going to create a safe space where Sophie doesn't have to worry about pleasing everyone and can just be herself. I think this is really the beginning for our family. My husband and I will give Sophie all the love and care she needs until she truly feels like this is her home.